Joanne, her birthday this month. She's not present.
Oh, we're doing her page. No.
Oh, we didn't.
Okay, moving right on. Do we have any notes from our last, even though
I didn't bring them.
Maggie was,
Yeah, she from the November meeting.
November meeting, you're right. And next up is the treasurer's report.
Well, I'm reporting for my wife who, as you know, we did not have a December meeting. And, she was gonna do the minutes probably, the November, which could have been presented here today. And, she just didn't feel up to it, so she asked for, and she submitted to some executive, mentioned this executive committee, that she would have both months, both months, next month, in January. She's, had planned to do it, but she just has some good days and bad days, and so she thought she wouldn't be able to get to it today, but she just feel up to do it. But she's okay, she's doing good, she just doesn't feel like doing that.
Okay, the minutes ought to be presented next month.
The treasurer report,
The treasury report, rather, excuse me.
it'll be for 2 months.
Which will be a 2-month report. Community policing officer isn't here today. Officer Miski, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Okay, so we'll go right to our guest speaker, Ms. Rachel Jefferson,
Yes,
Executive Director of HNMA.
that's right, HENMA, Executive Director of HENMA. And thank you
Does
so much.
everybody know what that means? Well, let me introduce, Rachel.
Okay.
Rachel, is the Executive Director of Historic Northeast Midtown Association, which is all of the neighborhood groups. The boundaries according to their bylaws are a member. We just happen to be one of the members, and that's one of the things we want to pay the dues. I think, how much are the dues per month?
I think for neighborhood groups, they're 25 or 50, but I have to double check.
I was not that-
Not per month, it's per year.
Per year.
Yeah, it's on a
I think
yearly
it's
basis.
25, I think it's.
Yeah, yeah.
But, what it's a, NBR, Neighborhood Business Revitalization Group. There's several of them throughout the city. This is one that just represents primarily the 1st and 4th district. That's probably the boundary.
That's correct.
That's the boundary. And so she's the executive director. Her mother, she, let her know now that she will never be as wise as her mother. She's probably smarter than her mother, but not as wise.
Definitely not.
And, does an excellent job. Rachel, to me, I mean, I've seen her in action over the years as one of our very bright young ladies that, I know I expect to see a lot of great things from her in the future, because she has not only the ability, but the integrity to do a lot of things. So, this is Rachel Jefferson, the Executive Director of Historic Northeast Midtown Association.
Well, I really hope I can live up to that introduction. That was so sweet and wonderful, and I've got to thank you all for having me here today, and Mr. Owens, who's always taking me in hand. And I'm just really glad to be able to present to you on some housing resources that I was able to gather. Mr. Liggins invited me to present on some housing resources. So first thing I'll do is draw your attention to the 3 handouts I handed out at the beginning of the meeting. The first one is a housing list. I went ahead and emailed Shepherd Center, and they come up with a housing list each month of the year, and this is their January housing list. And I'd actually never received this before either, so this is really interesting. I'm thinking about seeing if we can put it up on our website, but it has a whole bunch of different housing opportunities, apartments, actual homes. It shows where the opportunity came from. So, for instance, some of these came from rent.com. how many bedrooms are available, what the price is of those. And then goes ahead and also, at the end here from socialserve.com, it has a chart that breaks down all the different homes, the addresses, the monthly rent, if there are types of qualifications, how many beds and bath, who you should call, if pets are available, if they have a washer and dryer, if it's senior housing or income restricted, and then you can get a map of it. So that's pretty neato as well. So for anybody that's looking to interact with this document, I can send the actual PDF out where the links would be clickable. But that continues on for a while, and then there are a couple other properties that have a wait list or that they know of that bedrooms are sometimes available. And then at the very end, I know we're moving through kind of quickly, but at the very end is a list of agencies that help with housing in KCK. I doubt this is an exhaustive list,
Right.
because there's only really 3 on here, and there's other agencies, including Shepherd Center, who helps with housing,
And
but those are,
area aging.
an area agency
They have
on
a
aging.
huge list.
Yes, and actually I printed off some of their services, so I was gonna read some of those as well. But yeah, they're not on here. So this is definitely not exhaustive, but it's a good little resource to have. I'm gonna keep one on me.
Well, you know, Rachel, just so happened that I guess you would call my cousin before she passed, she was looking for assisted living place to stay.
Okay,
And, I didn't know that area aging had they have all the listings of every properties in Wyandotte and
really?
Johnson County.
Okay.
And it's huge, and she sent that to me, like, okay, but then she passed, so. But I didn't know they had that, I didn't, I guess we don't know.
well, and I was trying to print out their newsletter. They have a January newsletter and bring it here as well, but I ran out of time to print it out. But, I didn't know they had a newsletter that
Oh,
they put
yeah,
out. So,
they send that out to, we get ours in the mail, but I don't wanna get anything else on the computer.
I hear you.
Just
I hear you.
send it to.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely wanna get a copy that we can just have on hand at the office. Or
Yeah.
people will just pick up a hard copy and, put a link to it in our newsletter for sure.
If you call her, they'll put you on the list.
I'll absolutely gonna call her. In fact, I have a couple notes about
Yeah.
getting put on. And then, the very last thing on here is just helpful landlord contacts, and apparently these are people who, work well with housing barriers. So, I've never personally called any of them, so I can't speak to their personal helpfulness, but they've been helpful in the past, apparently. So that's that piece. And then the second is the minor home repair program waiver form. And Melissa said she sent that because it details to the homeowner what they're asking them to agree to before volunteer contractors ever even come into the house. So it's not necessarily an application, but also it has like some information about what their eligibility requirements would be as far as seeking their minor home repair program, Shepherd Center minor home program. And she wanted me to make a note that they do have the minor home repair program, and that she also spends time with folks as referrals for other issues such as housing, caregiving, etc. So, that's great. And I'm sorry, apparently this list was compiled by the staff at Wyandotte Inc. So I said Shepherd Center, that was I misspoke. This was prepared by the people at Wyandotte Inc. So, and then the Shepherd Center minor home waiver form. And then the last thing I already handed out is just this, they're having a fundraising of it. It's a book and brick and brack sale out at the community college. And it's their 21st annual, March 9th and 10th by the Duck Pond. And they also take donations of books and small items, no magazines or clothing. So I know I'm always looking for a way to empty out some old books and stuff like that. In fact, I just went and gave a whole bunch to half-price books. I wish I'd known about this, I would have done this instead. But so that's the other sheet that she sent me, just so you guys know that that's happening in March. This book brick a brack sale. All right. speak about the Area Agency on Aging. I just went on their website and looked at some of their services, and some of the in-home services, examples of the in-home services that they do offer include adult daycare, personal emergency response, wellness monitoring, assistance with house cleaning, meal preparation, bathing, toileting, feeding, respite care, nurse evaluations. And I don't have a copy of that printed out, because this is just off the website, but if you guys are interested in more about that, like I said, I was gonna get some hard copies in the newsletter and try to put together something that would have that information in there, and so I can get that to you anyway. So, having said all that, I wanted to then move on to Healthy Homes, and I actually did present to, do you mind helping me pass these out, Teresa? And I want to introduce Teresa Moore, who's here with us today. Teresa is with us as a certified application counselor. She's with HMA, so she's doing the health insurance enrollments that I was doing last year. She also lives in Wyandotte County, so she's very connected. And she also is a recent graduate of the Community Health Worker Program, which is something that's been happening in Wyandotte County. There's gonna be something like 400 scholarships over the next 3 years to train people in the community on how to be patient advocates, help people understand their healthcare instructions, their insurance, their medications, or just general advocacy. And some organizations like SWOPE and Casey Clare Clinic have already begun to hire some of these people, because the thought behind it is that really the best people to help neighbors and friends understand their health care are those people that are closest to them and can speak to them in a way in which they understand that's not complete medical jargon. Like, I know sometimes I go to the doctor's office and they just run off a whole bunch of complicated terms. I don't know what they said by the end of it. So that's the point of what we have Teresa here doing with, and she's going to, in her previous life, she also worked for LEAP. So she's gonna talk a little bit about LEAP and their eligibility. The new application isn't out yet, but she does have some information that she can provide about that. But before we get started, I just wanted to talk about Healthy Homes. So this first flyer is just our general Healthy Homes flyer. Children's Mercy right now is doing Healthy Homes pro bono on the Kansas side, because the Wyandotte County Health Department doesn't have its own Healthy Homes program. And one of the things she really wanted me to point out about this is if there is a child who has asthma and has Medicaid, they can qualify for a free home assessment through Children's Mercy. And I've gone through the home assessment training, and it's a really good thing, because what they'll do in a very unobtrusive way is they'll come into the home, they'll talk to you about different things that you do in the home, they'll go through and look and see. I know this sounds kind of crazy, but sometimes you'll see in a home someone has put cereal next to cleaning products, or something like this. Or maybe they're cooking a lot, but they're not opening a window when they cook. Just basic, simple things that people can do, and they'll also help you identify acute and chronic issues in the home, if you have dampness, if you have water damage, and then resources that may be able to help you get those repaired. So for kids that have asthma who are on Medicaid, that home assessment is free to them right now. And so I wanted to let you know about that. And then this checklist for making your home more comfortable here. This is something that was provided by the Metropolitan Energy Center. And it just talks about different things that you can do to make your home more energy efficient. So it's just a front and back flyer, but some of the things it talks about are, and this is kind of controversial, but changing your light bulbs from CFLs to LEDs. It uses a quarter of the electricity, installing a programmable thermostat, using a power strip you can switch off. This kind of always cracks. Get rid of the old refrigerator. Newer ones run much more efficiently. It was like, well, that's great if you can afford a new refrigerator, right? Plugging small homes with caulk. You'd be surprised how well that can help insulate a house. using foam tape, weatherization, and then keeping your air furnaces clean. Just simple things that help improve the energy efficiency of your home. And again, I think these are things that if you can't necessarily do yourself, places like the Area Agency on Aging and Shepherd's Home can then help you with those in-home services. Maybe you don't know how to change your air filter, you can't move your refrigerator to get out the dust from underneath it. You know, those are things that, those resources are set up to help with. And so having said that, I would like to do a very brief overview presentation on the principles of a healthy home. Can everybody see this here? So there are health problems related to housing conditions, poisonings, injuries, allergies, asthma, and behavior and language problems can come from that as well. I'm going to try to do it like, you still see it? Okay. So, hazards in the home include asthma triggers, mold, tobacco smoke, lead, radon, carbon monoxide, and different injuries in the home. So asthma triggers can include things like dust mites, cats, dogs, cockroaches, mice, tobacco, smoke, and different molds. And exposure to mold can cause associated issues with nose and throat irritation, coughing, wheezing, asthma symptoms, and they can also eventually cause pneumonia. Exposure to mold can as well. Tobacco smoke obviously can trigger asthma attacks, cause cancer and death, and smokers should smoke outside and not inside the home or the car if possible. That's one of the things also that they do in the Healthy Home Assessment is they'll come through, and if a kid has asthma and they see that maybe there's a parent smoking in the home, they'll also maybe you can just smoke outside the home, and that can make a big difference, even just moving from inside to outside. Lead can be found in pre-1978 paint, dust, soil. Digesting lead or inhaling dust can lead to poisoning, which can result in a lowered IQ, behavioral and learning problems, and eventual death. Radon, which Kansas, the area we're in, Kansas is actually high risk for radon. I didn't know if you guys knew that. It's naturally occurring gas that comes from the ground and come into a house and can cause lung cancer. Carbon monoxide, which can build up in a furnace if it isn't working right, or an unventilated gas heater. And this can cause headaches, dizziness, confusion, and eventual death. And so many injuries in the, and I hate to end anything with eventual death, you know, but I think the point is that they're trying to scare people a little bit so that they understand that sometimes this is how people get injured. And it could be things like poisoning, fires, burns, choking, anything associated with that. Yes?
I got a question on mold. Is there a particular part of your house where you usually find mold?
In a damper, less lit part of the house, maybe an area where you don't go as often, so under the sink. Any place where you have water moving in and out or condensation forming, so maybe in your windows, if your window seals aren't properly maintained, you may see some mold or drainage, but basically anywhere you see water damage, you're gonna then maybe find some mold in that place as well.
I'm gonna say something about that carbon monoxide. I almost killed myself that way. And with a power washer in my basement, I had no idea how much, and it did take about an hour. I was cleaning my basement, and we may do that to clean mold or whatever.
Right.
And all at once,
You didn't have a window
I had
open
36% carbon monoxide in my blood. They said if I smoked one cigarette or drank one beer, I'd have died. So it happened within an hour of just power washing. So that's really scary.
And that's some of this, that is really scary, and so that's some of the stuff that the Healthy Homes works to, is like, okay, well, you need tools to power wash your basement, but maybe open a door, open a window, or put a fan or something, so that you're thinking about these things, because you can't see carbon
It
monoxide.
happens so quick.
It's not like it's smoke filling up, it's, you know, it's a gas, it's an invisible gas.
You don't even feel it.
Right.
You just all at once, I couldn't stand up anymore.
You're sleepy or something like that, and I've had carbon monoxide poisoning as well. I was lucky someone else woke me up. But yeah, I mean, it's not one of those things like you see it coming. And so their whole concept, a lot of this is about prevention and maintenance. But that if you're at least thinking about these things that can come in the home, then you can take some precautions to try to prevent them, which it may be simple as just letting some ventilation. That's one of the next topics, actually.
most, when you use, most machine, when you go buy, it's very important you read all the instructions, because you don't wanna take no machine inside your house without some ventilation somewhere. Or where or especially where you're working at. Even some, like some glues, something, that you use, some glue and all that kind, you gotta have some ventilation, or it will kill you.
Right, you're right.
And then,
Yeah.
it's like if somebody else is in the house, like they upstairs, them fumes gonna go up, and
You're
it will
right.
affect them.
You're
You said
absolutely right.
glue, what kind of?
Like cement and stuff, that you have to glue and stuff together and everything, you don't wanna do that inside your house. You wanna take it outdoors.
Yeah.
I'm glad, I'm always gluing
Them
stuff.
fumes, they will hurt you.
Like super glue and other little stuff you buy?
Some of it, yeah, but read the instructions, it'll tell you, but you don't wanna get it, well, super glue, you just gonna use a drop of it
Yeah,
and
Right.
everything. But I'm talking about like you gluing something big,
right.
because when.
Don't be over there sniffing glue. Watch that.
That's so funny.
Kidding?
So,
I love your brother.
okay, that's funny.
She didn't get that from me.
So one of the things we wanna think about are that children and seniors are some of the most vulnerable populations. In fact, young children spend about 70% of their time in the household. In relation to their body weight, children eat, drink, and breathe more than adults. That can possibly increase their exposure to the substances, and they're still developing. So those harmful contaminants can affect them more. Many older persons spend up to 90% of their time indoors, often at home. Common indoor environmental hazards can trigger chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, asthma attacks, and breathing problems are easily triggered by tobacco smoke, pets, and dust. So, among older adults, falls usually occur in the house and are the leading cause of hospital admissions, fractures, and injury death. So the Healthy Homes principles are keep it dry, clean, ventilated, pest-free, safe, contaminant-free, maintained, and then they threw in green. That's the new one. It's really just 7, but if you can do all that and keep it green at the same time, why not?
But in ventilation, in the winter, when you got everything shut out, all your windows and everything, what's the best way to ventilate your house?
That is a great question. And I'm not sure there is any really good answer. I mean, I think that if you have an airflow system, having that return air on and flow, just